Well, here's to you, right where you are, a lifetime away from me, the far inside of this broken bed. So here in the cold light of day, why don't you stay?
I knew something was different right then. I put my hand into his pocket, his empty coat pocket. I was searching for the back door key. He'd already gone out, always in a rush these days. When my fingers curled round not a key, but a small cylinder. I pulled it out and I was surprised. No, shocked to find a fancy lipstick in my hand. Nothing like I'd ever wear. In fact, I've rarely worn lipstick since I was a teenager. My best mate, sort of mum figure, Queenie, 54 going on 23, was already in her oily overalls and getting her tools out. She'd even had her first cigs of the day too, by the looks of the floor where she was stood. She looked me up and down and said to me,
"Hey up, here's our Bella the fella. What's up, love? You're not usually late. Everything all right, pet?"
I hadn't realised how tense I was about the lipstick until Queenie mentioned it. I started crying, proper yelling away. So I blew my nose on my shirt sleeve, loud and long. I have a good blowing action for a small, delicate looking woman.
"I was just worried about you, Chuck. Not seen you cry much since your mum died."
I could see Dad's feet standing next to the car. He didn't say anything for ages, just kept sort of swallowing. Could actually hear him breathing heavily, sort of gulping. I don't know what it was about his feet, and not the swallowing like, but I thought, well, anyway, they looked such sad feet. And he looked at me all stern-like and said,
"I don't know how to say this any other way, but Bella, your mum's just died."
Just like that. Straight out with it like. I didn't really know what to do. I just stayed underneath the car for a while. But then I went out to him and I put my head on his shoulder. He was going up and down like an old motor. Crying. Silently. Like when you put a movie on, you turn the volume down. I could feel his warm tears dripping onto my shoulder. That started me off. But I was proper loud, yelling. I know that I wasn't a kid anymore. I was an adult and I should have been okay. But all I wanted in that moment was my mum. He was in the class across from mine and was studying for an MVQ in care work. He was wonderful. He had this copper red hair, tall, delicate looking. I could see him as a nurse or a carer. Talk about stereotyping. I'm small, dark, slim, but, well, a bit like a tiny, snappy terrier, tough and single-minded, and yapping a lot if he doesn't get their own way. Jack smiled a lot at me, and straight away he said he liked my hair. Actually, I was carrying a box full of wigs, so it could have been anyone's there. After that, we became really, really good mates. Before I knew it, we were living together. That simple. It was a few months after Mum died that we got a place together. Jack, or later, Jackie, as he preferred to be called by a few of his mates, was just what I needed. I loved to cuddle him, and he loved to cuddle me. Between you and me, there were never a lot of sex. But that didn't really seem important to us. We were soulmates, and that was way more important than lust. Jack used to say that I was his other half, and I used to joke that we were two bodies and one mind. He loved that.
Never had a problem with who I am. I mean, you know, in any way. My leftist politics, my human rights concerns, my not being a traditional female, whatever that is. As a kid, my mum got me all the dolls and stuff, and one of those hairdresser and makeup sets. A sort of head you made up and stuff, but I never really touched it. In fact, I swapped it with a friend at school for her brother's old toolkit, microscope and penknife. My dad got me one of those monster trucks you could sit on and tinker with, and a gardening set, which I loved, to help him on the allotment. Plenty of women went down there. Weren't just men in sheds, there were women too. Oh, what a mix of characters though. There were Nick the Greek, who stored stolen cigs in his lean-to, and used to bring us women and the kids there great bags of sweets and chocolate. Seemed to be a favourite of all the women, and each in turn went into his inner sanctum to, as Dad said,
help things grow enormously in a very short time.
I didn't know what he meant then, but everyone laughed a lot. Nick joked that he had the best Benson and Hedges, and there was nothing like a good bit of old shag. I looked puzzled, and Dad said it was an old rough tobacco. Nick was rough, but good looking, like a Greek god. There were Jimmy two sheds. He was an odd sort. Literally had two sheds. We thought he lived in one all year round and kept his gardening stuff in the other one. Oh, poor old bugger, Dad said. He lost the plot years ago. And I was really concerned and was like, what? He's lost his allotment plot, Dad. Why? He thought that was hilarious. No, he actually lost his wife and his daughter in a house fire years ago. Wouldn't sleep in a house and became a bit of a recluse, really. People dropped off bags and stuff outside of one of his sheds, and he seemed happy enough. And he survived. Queenie used to do his washing for him sometimes. Winters must have been harsh though. The last interesting person I can think of was Sally Onions. She had a great plot of land and literally grew prize-winning onions. Did well with them too. Anything she put her hand to, really. She had carrots and pumpkins and all the shows. She used to cycle into the allotment ground, big old coat flapping about, bicycle clips on to keep her trousers out of the wheels. And then she'd quickly go into a shed and change. See, she cycled in as Stuart, actually. Bit of an old hippie type, long hair, gold earring, and so quiet. But then she'd come out of a shed as Sally Onions. Much more chatty as Sally than as Stuart. She was still wearing, the same old work pants and the bicycle clips on around her ankles. But she usually had on a nice cardigan and some beads. One summer, she climbed up on her old shed roof because there were some loose tiles that needed fixing. And it was a hot day. And out of character for her, she was wearing an old dress. No one cared about the dress, or her less than perfect hairy legs. And anyway, I've got well hairy legs, I'm not shaving them for anyone. No, we all just stood there aghast and gawping, worried she was going to fall off because she had these flimsy sandals on. Yeah, no one cared about how she dressed or anything. Certainly no one gave her any grief about it. The only bother I ever remember her getting into was when she climbed up Cyril's old tree, clutching a chainsaw. She was going to trim the top of the tree for him because the wind had caused it to break off and it was looking a bit dangerous. Big swooping branches hanging down. We all just shouted, "Come down from there, you daft cow, before you Get yourself hurt. You're going to chop something off if you aren't careful, like an arm. One of the new blokes on the allotment was laughing and muttered something about chopping other things off. So, George Greengrocer decked him there and then. I asked Dad about it. What was it all about? I didn't get it. Why did it bother people what others did or how they looked? I liked Sally, and I wish I knew her. Or Stuart better. Dad just said,
It's none of our business, Bella, love. Any of it. Sally seems happy enough. And people, just people. So she's welcome here. And we look after our own here on the allotments. Well, anywhere really. And that's just what your mother would expect. And no less.
I didn't think we were odd as a family. For accepting everyone, I mean. Lots of people in the area we lived in were just okay about most things. And were very nice. Shared the mowers if yours was broken. Helped you break in if you locked yourself out. Which I did a lot of. Especially after Mum died.
Life is a tapestry, love. Variety in colour. And we need it all. The thin threads, the thick threads. The rich and the poor. The good, the bad, and the empty frayed bits where people have gone wrong. Or just disappeared.
I opened the door, knowing Jack was back home and should be in the kitchen. I stepped inside the foggy atmosphere. It was all condensation from some pans on the cooker. I could hardly see. But what I could see was a tall woman leaning over the stove. I was utterly aghast. I was scared, angry, confused, and mostly disbelieving that some other woman was in my kitchen. I was really, really upset. I shouted, "What the f*** are you doing here?" Imagining this was Mrs. Fancy Red Lipstick. I was ready to fight. She had her back to me, but I could see her long blonde hair, which I felt like ripping out of her head by the roots. And I noticed a nice looking, but way too tight dress, and red boots with fancy heels. To go with a red lipstick, I suppose. When I said that, she spun round and rounded on me, staring straight at me, challenging me with her blue eyes. I felt undressed and scared. I recognised the eyes as they locked onto mine. Did I? No, I didn't know who or... Jack! It's you! What the hell? What are you doing? Why are you dressed like that? The place went black and stars sort of twinkled as they did in the sky the night Queenie and I talked. Then the ground came up to me and I crumpled. After a while, I felt better because we opened the back door and let some of the steam out. And Jackie came over with these red boots on, sobbing she was, saying to me stuff about how when she was a youngster she used to put on this tutu that was actually her cousin's, and how she always knew that she was meant to be a she in a he's body, and that when her mum used to go out she used to put this red lipstick on and she wanted to get kissed by her before she left so that she could have some on herself. It made her feel like her, because she never did feel like her when she went to school and had to play with the boys and had to play with all the toys that she was given, like Transformers and Lego. That wasn't for her. But for me, I just felt like, why? Because it feels like you've been lying to me all this time. If you didn't fancy me, you didn't want to be with me, then why did you move in with me? Why did you do that? Why did you put me through all this? It's just one big fat lie, and I have to suffer for it. She was still crying. I left her there just sobbing at the kitchen table, But I had to get out. I had to leave. So I did. I just got my stuff and left. I had to go. I had to. I didn't really look back. I just went. And I was thinking back and looking for clues. Like, did he kiss me often, passionately in our early days together? How did he ask me out? When did we take it to the next level? Did he feel my breast longingly? Slowly? Did he reach down and stroke my bottom? Did he find me attractive? Tell me I was sexy or beautiful? I went to Dad's that night. I couldn't keep in the house anymore. So he was really good about it. Just let me go in my bedroom like I always used to. But when I came down the next morning, he wouldn't stop asking me questions. Oh, what's the debt about then? And do you want any help with that? Saying, oh, well, I want to do the best for my daughter and my son-in-law. Well, I just went quiet and firmly said to him, no, Dad. It's Jackie, your daughter-in-law. He just looked really confused for a while and kept saying,
I don't get it. Belle, stop messing about.
After a while of silence, I said to him, look, I'm confused too, Dad. It's a big shock for me. But Jack told me last night that it's actually not Jack, it's Jackie. All her life she's known that she's a woman in the wrong body. And she just wants to live a life freely in the right one. He just kept shaking his head. I took a swig of my brew.
Bloody hell. I mean, bloody hell. I mean, bloody hell.
Just kept on saying that. All her life she's felt like she's not been able to be herself. And all this time that we've been dating, for the past 3 years, it's been torture for her. She felt like she's been lying to me. But she does love me. And I love her. Well, that just got Dad proper fed up. Really angry. I leaned back and he went off like a rocket.
I will kill the git. I'm not having anybody mess my kid around, all right? He is a bloke. He's Jack. He loves you, you love him, you're together. I'm gonna bloody kill the bastard. I'll knock some sense into him. Where is he now?
I said to him, Dad, if you're so upset for me, if you're so angry, imagine how it feels to be Jackie. All her life she's felt like an outsider and had this anger within her, never getting to be who she really was. Imagine that. But he didn't. I was really surprised because as a family we were so accepting of others. But he wouldn't have any of it. I got to the point where I said, if you're going to act like this, then I don't want you anywhere near Jackie or me. I'm just going to have to go. You can't accept it. I left. And I didn't see him for a while.
Things eased off after that, and we all began to sheepishly start to have our breaks together, our biscuits and our tea, and Queenie made a real effort to invite me and Jackie round.
All that emotional turmoil, the stress, the crap, and then the physical stuff, trying to protect each other whilst working out what was best for Jackie and me and all of us, I suppose, as a family unit. There were times that I wanted to move back in with Dad permanently, ups and downs and the anger and lonely feeling, but I stuck with it. I helped Jackie with makeup suggestions and clothes, but to be fair to her, she was doing all right on her own, really. There was a time that we slept apart. I felt sad, and lonely in Jackie's arms. And she no longer made me feel 100% safe. Spare room was cold though. And I think we both missed each other desperately. See, it wasn't just me mourning the loss of my fella Jack. I think she missed the relationship that she had with me. Just me, Bella, and how we were together, and how to blend the old and the new. We still did the same things. After an adjustment period, we did the dog walking, and I did all my theatre stuff, like the set painting and the modelling, and the choir and singing. Yeah, we both still did the music. What did William Shake whatnot say? If music be the food of love, play on. Yeah, well, we played on, and we loved each other. Though my dad's a bit more of an ABBA fan. Thank you for the music, the songs we're singing, sort of thing. We bloody do love each other. This much. My love is real. This much. My love has no end. It's just love, and I feel loved. Just love, love, love.
Why don't you stay until tomorrow? I'll give you all my promises to hold. Because the road is dark and narrow when you can't find a way to take control. So there it is, my last request. Your hair a tousled storm across the risings of your chest. And if you rise to tell me no, you know I won't resent you if away you choose to go. For at least these words were honest. That's a quality I've never worn too well. And it hasn't been easy to say, but I can't chase these feelings away. So here in the cold light of day, why don't you stay? Here in the cold light of day, why don't you stay?